Nvidia shares ending the week in the red and now lower for 4 out of the last 5 weeks. That's despite positive commentary from CEO Jensen Huang during the company's GCT Developers Conference. Our next guest says he has found more reasons this week to be bullish for the long term. So joining us now is Creative Strategies CEO Ben Bajaran. Ben, it's good to have you on, and let's start right there. What was it about a multitude of days and messages and partnerships and news announcements this week that solidified that case for you?
Yeah, I think there was a number of things. I mean, obviously, it's hard to be bullish against just the roadmap that they showed. You know, one of the biggest debates and arguments that we get into, as I'm sure you guys have all talked about too, is, you know, what is the degree that these custom or specialized ASICs are going to compete or take share from Nvidia? I think when you look at the technology roadmap from Nvidia in terms of what they're doing with Grace Blackwell and Blackwell systems going forward, it's going to be very, very hard for those to compete. And I think they were extremely bullish about how much of the industry, not just the traditional, cloud servers, but AI factories and this entirely new infrastructure and how IT is being kind of redeveloped for the AI era is being built on Nvidia. Like, it's not being built on other things. And so I think when you look at the ecosystem that's grown around them, they're deeply entrenched. It doesn't have any sign of that changing. And I think the roadmap for that CapEx that's being spent on the back of Nvidia just shows that there's still a good few years, if not longer, of growth behind them just in data center, let alone robotics and AV and all of these other areas that they're talking about.
But to change the game for the stock trajectory, I wonder if, Nvidia has to tackle a whole new area of business or get a bigger share, even bigger share than it's already got. Jensen Huang has been kind of the ultimate statesman, not just for AI, but now for quantum, for robotics, for all these things. But does he go vertical at some point and sort of gobble up a piece of what partners have been taking?
Yeah, I mean, and I think they're showing that. If you look at what they're talking about architecturally, particularly within the Grace Blackwell systems, which is, again, where they do the ARM CPU, the Grace ARM CPU, there's a lot more networking involved in there. There's a lot more custom rack development, custom boards. They're, I mean, as vertical as we've ever seen them with those particular products, and those are different than their B200 or B300 products where you can use anybody's CPU with. So I think they're showing that, John, but I think you're exactly right. And I think there was a sense of frustration that I saw from Jensen, particularly in the financial analyst QA, where he really kind of went off saying, like, you guys don't really understand and nobody's modeling the upside opportunity here when you really understand what we say when we mean when we say AI factories, that this is new build. These are dedicated, purpose-built factories to just run enterprise AI. And he seems to think that nobody is modeling that in or really understands it. So there's we kind of have a sense of what they'll sell just product-wise here in 2025, which is where I agree with you. Hard to surprise to the upside to move the stock. But I think he is signaling people don't understand the magnitude of this opportunity. And I think that's worth unpacking because there is a lot of growth ahead. And I think they're very bullish that they're going to continue to get a big chunk of that share.
To be fair here, I remember, what was it, 15 or so years ago, more than 15, we're coming up on 20, when I was looking at Apple and people were trying to think, well, how can Apple be worth more than it is right now? And I was thinking, well, how many iPods would they have to sell in order for them to double their stock price? And that was just the wrong way to think about it because, who saw that the iPad and the iPhone and all this other stuff was around the corner? Is it similar for Nvidia, perhaps, the areas that become available when technology shifts so dramatically?
I think so, and I think that's why he's using this vast TAM expansive types of language, right? He said if the world's industry is a $120 trillion industry and you believe that a good chunk of that industry is going to redo their infrastructure, rebuild new infrastructure because they need to build these AI factories, that Nvidia would get a good portion of that. And so I think he's trying to say, if we are at the center of this new intelligence frontier, this industrial revolution for AI and intelligence, we're the backbone, the standard that this is being built on. You've got to really look wider at how much this is going to change every industry and the spending in that industry and GDP for countries and all of these things. So I think he's really trying to sell a wider vision. I think that's where he's getting frustrated that people aren't grasping it. And like I said, I think that is worth debating and discussing. What does this really look like over the next 5 to 10 years?